Hi guys, welcome to my vlog. On the 27th of April, it was Freedom Day in South Africa, which is a day that we remember the fact that we as South Africans started voting under the democratic government, and it was first celebrated on the 27th of April in 1995, which was a year after we had started to vote under the democratic government, which at the time was led by the late Nelson Mandela. So as I was reflecting on the day, Freedom Day, and I thought about what it means to be an abused woman, and Freedom Day, just the dynamics around the freedom and the Freedom Day and the Freedom Charter, the Constitution of South Africa, and what it means for a woman that is in an abusive relationship. And I did a little bit of research on the topic, and I discovered that the whole idea of celebrating the Freedom Day is centered around themes such as peace, unity, as well as the restoration of human dignity. And I sort of came up with 7 themes, or 7 ways in which the freedom of an abused woman is not respected in the abusive relationship. Number 1, the idea of dignity, which means that as a person you are worthy of honor and respect, and anyone who has been in an abusive relationship, you will know that that right and is constantly not respected, and you are constantly treated like somebody who is not worthy of love, who's not worthy of respect, and through several behaviors such as insults and sometimes the beatings. Number 2, as a person who lives in any country, especially in South Africa, in our constitution, you have freedom of security of the person, which includes the right to be free from all forms of violence. But we all know that as an abused woman, you are, in constant state of your security being threatened, because whether you are being beaten up or not, you don't know if tomorrow you're gonna be alive, and you cannot feel like you are free from violence, because violence is actually part of the relationship, whether it's verbal violence, sexual violence, or even physical violence in some instances. So in that manner, your right to freedom of security is actually infringed. Number 3, the freedom of religion, belief and opinion is also not respected, and you cannot exercise that right or that freedom, because the abuser assumes the right to dictate to you how you should exercise your spirituality. Your opinions are censored. He sometimes decides what you can say and what you cannot say. And your belief system also is constantly criticized and looked down upon. So you cannot actually exercise that freedom of religion. And also in my culture, there is a belief that if you are a woman, especially a married woman, you are supposed to do, or to practice the same religion that your husband is actually practicing, even his family. So as a woman, you don't have a right to express yourself religiously the way that you want to. And number 4, the freedom of expression. Excuse me. The freedom of expression is about being able to assert yourself, to express your opinions, you know, your artistic abilities, through your work, what you want to do for a living. You can't even express your emotions, because for someone who is in an abusive relationship, your emotions are constantly monitored, and sometimes you can't even cry even when you feel like the pain is there, or you need to express it, or even anger. So you are constantly censored, and the abuser, you know, finds a way of wanting to dictate how you should express yourself. Number 5, the freedom of association is also not exercised fully by the abused woman, because he actually chooses the groups of people that you can associate with, from friendships to sometimes even religious groups. You can't be with people with which you have a common goal. For an example, you can't join clubs, whether it's a running club or it's music club, or whatever that you want to do in terms of associating with others. The abuser constantly wants to manage that and wants to tell you with whom you can associate. And that also is a space where your freedom, you know, cannot be exercised. Number 6, as a person, you have a right also to be in an environment that is not harmful to you as well as your well-being. But being in an abusive relationship actually does not allow you to be in that space, because you are constantly harmed, whether emotionally or physically or even economically. So, I mean, various measures are taken by the abuser to ensure that you do not enjoy that freedom of being in an environment that is not harmful. The number 7 theme or issue or type of freedom is the freedom that you should live in a society or in a place or in a space that is not sexist. We all know that abusers generally have negative ideas about women. Sorry. They generally have negative ideas about women, and you, as an abused woman, you constantly live in a space, you know, that is very sexist, because I mean the gender roles are determined by the abuser, and usually you are assigned the tasks or the roles or the behaviors that are looked down upon. So, you know, the abusers are usually very patriarchal and sometimes even misogynistic, and you are constantly, you know, watched whether or not you are behaving as a woman, and the abuser has a certain way of looking at women, and as a woman you have to behave in a certain way, and if you don't, you know, you are sort of reminded that you are not behaving like a woman. Nobody would actually want somebody like that, you know. So you are constantly bombarded with sexist messages that you know, seek to box you as a person, and most importantly as a woman. So I think that is the end of it for today, and I hope you are going to enjoy it, and I hope you're going to learn something from this. Until we meet next time, thank you, bye.